Welcome to Deep Dive. Welcome. We're thrilled to have you here. Let's dive in and grow together.
All right. Today we're diving into the assassination of Brian Thompson,
Yeah.
CEO of UnitedHealthcare.
It's a story that's gotten everybody talking.
Yeah.
And, not just because of how shocking it was.
Right.
The public's reaction has been, I don't know, I've never seen anything like it.
Really?
It feels like this just cracked open a Pandora's box of frustration and anger at the healthcare industry.
So UnitedHealthcare, for those who aren't familiar, is the biggest health insurer in the country.
Yeah, the biggest,
Really?
huge player. And as a CEO, Brian Thompson was the face of this massive corporation.
Yeah. Okay, and this wasn't just some random attack.
No, not at all.
The details are...
The details are chilling.
Yeah.
December 4th.
Okay.
Just before 7 a.m.,
Right.
Thompson was on his way to an investor meeting at the New York Hilton Midtown,
Yeah.
and our sources say the assailant was just waiting for him in the crowd.
So this was premeditated,
Yeah,
not a chance encounter gone wrong.
exactly. He ignored. Everyone else walked right up to Thompson and shot him multiple times.
Oh.
Once in the back and at least once in the leg.
Jeez.
Witnesses said the killer was calm, almost methodical.
And then there's that detail about the shell casings
Oh, yeah.
found at the scene.
They were inscribed with the words deny, defend, and depose.
That's not your typical crime scene message.
It definitely points to a motive beyond any kind of personal vendetta.
Right.
This feels symbolic, almost like a statement against the entire health insurance industry.
Where is this killer now?
Gone, vanished, last seen escaping on an electric bike
Oh, wow.
into Central Park.
That's a nightmare for investigators.
A nightmare, limited camera coverage, tons of paths and hiding places.
Right.
Plus, they found a discarded backpack they think belonged to the suspect inside.
Uh-huh.
A water bottle with a smudged fingerprint.
Smudged fingerprint.
Yeah.
Sounds like a dead end.
It's not ideal. There was also a cell phone,
Okay.
but getting data off of it might be a challenge.
Right.
Could be a burner phone,
Yeah.
wipe clean.
And there's the footage of him at the hostel looking totally different.
Oh, yeah.
Probably used a fake ID to check in.
The level of planning is astounding.
Really?
This was someone who knew what they were doing and how to disappear.
Now let's get to what I find most fascinating.
Okay.
The public's reaction.
Yeah.
Unlike anything I've ever seen.
It's almost like Thompson's death has become this lightning rod for all the pent-up frustration and anger that people have toward the American healthcare system.
You see it on social media.
Social media is a prime example.
I saw that United Health Group posted a message of condolences on their Facebook,
Right.
and it was met with tens of thousands of laughing emojis.
Tens of thousands.
Tens of thousands.
That's not grief. That's raw anger
At the system.
at the system Thompson represented.
And it's not hard to see why people are so angry.
No, it's not.
If you were laughing about a man being murked on the sidewalk outside of his 5-star hotel, DM me. We have the same sense of humor.
Oh, do you think he's already looking up at us? You think this happened in or out of network? My insurance doesn't cover empathy.
I hope he doesn't get away. Oh, get that guy. Oh, no.
He killed people's grandparents for money.
People's reaction to the CEO of UnitedHealthcare being gunned down in broad daylight, that lack of empathy that people are giving him, that's what happens when you dehumanize others. Eventually, you dehumanize yourself.
Of thousands.
Tens of thousands.
That's not grief. That's raw anger
At the system.
at the system Thompson represented.
And it's not hard to see why people are so angry.
No, it's not.
You've got sky-high insurance premiums.
Yeah.
Deductibles that feel impossible to meet.
Right.
And then there's the whole issue of claim denials.
It's this feeling of being trapped.
Like, you're paying a fortune for insurance, but you never really know what's covered until you get slapped with a massive bill.
Exactly.
It's like navigating a maze.
Yes.
With constantly shifting walls, you think you understand the rules, and then bam, your claim is denied because of some obscure clause you never even knew existed.
The deny, defend, depose words on those shell casings are really resonating with people
Yeah, I can see that.
who feel like those words sum up their experiences
Right.
with the healthcare industry.
It's like this assassination has forced a national conversation about a system that many feel is fundamentally broken.
It has.
But where do we go from here?
Right.
What are the solutions?
That's the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
There's no simple fix, no magic wand
Right.
we can wave to make everything better.
Right.
It's a web of complex issues.
Right.
But maybe, just maybe, this tragedy can be the catalyst for real, meaningful reform.
So let's dive into those potential solutions next.
It's tempting to just jump into solutions. But we have to acknowledge the human cost of this tragedy.
Of course, a man lost his life. and a family is grieving.
Right. And it raises a really interesting
Yeah.
ethical dilemma. Like, how do we
reconcile the anger
Yeah.
and frustration people feel towards the system with the fact that a real person with a family is gone?
It's a tough line to walk. I mean, it is possible to critique the industry and its practices without, condoning violence against individuals.
Absolutely. And this case really highlights how complex the public's reaction can be.
Right.
The way we process these kinds of events.
Yeah.
There's empathy for the victim's family,
Of course.
but there's also this sense of almost vindication
Yeah.
for those who feel wronged by the system that Thompson represented.
Yeah, I see that. It's like his death has become a symbol of everything wrong with healthcare in America.
And that symbolism has real-world consequences.
How so?
This assassination has sent shockwaves through the corporate world,
Really?
especially in healthcare.
Executives are on high alert. Security firms are seeing a surge in demand.
So now, on top of everything else, we're dealing with the potential for increased security measures, which could further isolate those in power and make it even harder to bridge the gap
Yeah, it's a vicious cycle.
between those calling the shots and those impacted by them.
Yeah, but circling back to potential solutions,
Yeah.
one thing that keeps coming up is the issue of claim denials.
Mm-hmm.
This system feels rigged against the patient.
It's like you said earlier, you pay all this money for insurance, but you never really know what's covered until it's too late.
Exactly.
And when your claim is denied, the appeals process feels like a Kafkaesque nightmare.
It's so convoluted
It is.
and time-consuming.
Yeah, and it's not just anecdotal.
Right.
Studies show a significant percentage of insured adults have experienced claim denials, and many of those denials are later overturned on appeal.
A lot of them.
So clearly there's a problem with the initial assessment process.
There is.
So how do we fix this? More transparency.
Transparency is a good starting point.
Okay.
Insurers could be required to publicly report their claim denial rates and the reasons behind those denials.
Yeah.
Imagine if you could easily compare those rates
Yeah.
across different providers.
That would hold them accountable.
It would.
But what about the appeals process itself?
Yeah.
It's so convoluted and time-consuming.
It needs to be streamlined, less bureaucratic, more user-friendly.
Okay.
Imagine an online portal where you could track the status of your appeal, upload documents,
Mm-hmm.
communicate directly with the insurer.
Anything to make it feel less like you need a law degree to navigate the system.
Right. And then there's the elephant in the room, rising healthcare costs in general.
Yeah, premiums are going up,
Mhm.
deductibles are increasing, and prescription drug prices are astronomical.
It's a multifaceted problem,
It is.
and there are no easy answers.
I mean, we've got an aging population with more complex healthcare needs, advancements in medical technology that come with hefty price tags, and a system weighed down by administrative overhead.
We can't forget about the influence of the pharmaceutical industry.
Oh, right. And their lobbying efforts to keep those drug prices high.
It's a tangled web.
So are we doomed?
Well,
Is there any hope of fixing this mess?
it's not about finding a single cure-all solution. It's about chipping away at the problem from multiple angles.
Okay.
Take drug prices, for example.
Okay.
One idea is to increase government regulation of those prices.
Oh, I can already hear the pharmaceutical industry gearing up to fight that.
Oh, I was.
But it could have a huge impact on affordability.
It could. What else is on the table?
Yeah.
Shifting focus from treatment to prevention.
Okay.
Public health initiatives that promote healthy lifestyles and preventative care
Mm-hmm.
could reduce the overall burden on the system in the long run.
But those initiatives take time and upfront investment.
True. But they offer a more sustainable approach to healthcare.
So it's about playing the long game.
It is. What about the role of individuals?
Right. What can we do beyond just complaining about the system? We can make informed choices about our health insurance plans. We can prioritize preventative care. And we can be more proactive about understanding our medical bills and advocating for ourselves.
So it's a combination of top-down reform and bottom-up empowerment.
Exactly. This case has shown a very harsh light on the cracks in our healthcare system.
Yeah,
The question is, will we use this moment to demand better?
I hope so.
Feels like we've only scratched the surface.
Yeah, a very complex issue.
We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive. The details of the assassination,
Yeah,
the evidence, the challenges investigators are facing, and we really tried to unpack the public's reaction,
yeah.
along with that deep-seated anger toward the healthcare industry.
And we've talked about those ethical dilemmas. How do we balance empathy for the victim's family
Yeah.
with the criticisms of the system he represented, and how do we channel public anger into constructive action without condoning violence?
It's a lot to process, but they're important conversations to have. And I think this case, as tragic as it is, has forced those conversations into the spotlight.
So where do we go from here?
Right.
What can our listeners, everyday people
Yeah.
who are grappling with these issues, actually do?
Well, it starts with awareness.
Okay.
Don't just passively consume the news.
Right.
Engage with it.
Book?
Ask yourself, how has the healthcare system impacted my life? What frustrations have I experienced? What works well and what needs to change?
So it's like taking a personal inventory
Exactly.
of your experiences.
And once you have that understanding, channel it into action.
Okay.
Talk to your friends and family.
Yeah.
Contact your elected officials. Let them know your concerns.
Support organizations that are fighting for healthcare reform.
Yes, there are people out there working on solutions, and they need our support.
They do?
Remember, change rarely happens overnight,
No.
but it starts with individuals speaking up and demanding better.
This deep dive has been about so much more than an assassination. It's about a system that's failing many Americans.
Yeah.
A system that needs our attention and our action.
We'll leave you with this thought.
Okay.
If the assassination of a healthcare CEO can spark this level of national conversation, imagine what we could accomplish by channeling that energy into a collective movement for change. The power to shape a better future lies not in anger or violence, but in our shared humanity, our willingness to listen, to learn, and to work together to create a healthcare system that truly serves the needs of all.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.